Now, today's sutta is a very pleasant and happy one. It's about one of the monks I deeply admire. He's a young monk, a little naive sometimes. Sometimes even the non-Buddhists who meet him make fun of him, but he's determined. And his name is Samiddhi. He comes from a good family. From the time he was born, the family prospered, so they call him Samiddhi, meaning entire Samrit meaning well-endowed. You have all the good things in life, blessings in life. My family is very happy. He grew up to a very handsome and charming person, so everybody liked him. And he was present at early in the history of Buddhism when King Bimbisara met the Buddha for the first time and donated a bamboo grove. He was so inspired by this meeting, by seeing the Buddha's radiant personality of peace in the presence of the king. He was so inspired, he decided to renounce and become a monk. Of course, being a young person, his parents were very sad, were crying and so on, just like when Siddhartha left home. So he started very young. So this is a story when he was still young. And this story was quite amusing also because it is a happy story because he's so kind and good looking that even a female deity fell in love with him. It's almost like a Greek mythology. No? So this is the sutta which shows how this female deity, Devatā, came to see Samiddhi, this monk Samiddhi. Let's look at the sutta now. Okay, let's go down to the sutta. Page 107. Right, here we are. Notice brackets Devatā, Samiddhi Sutta. We have quite a list of teaching suttas about the monk Samiddhi, the young elder Samiddhi. And this one is a special one about the Devatā came to see Samiddhi. So the translation is the Discourse on Samiddhi and the Devatā. Or we can translate as the Devatā Discourse on Samiddhi, S1.20. Notice this one is in Samyutta. So it shows there is some deep teaching in it too. At one time, the Blessed One was staying in Tapodā. Okay. Tapa means heat, warmth. Oda is water. So Tapodā means warm water, hot spring. Arama is a park, forest park, and also the name of a monastery. The early monasteries also called Arama. So there was no name for temple or even monastery. They just called Arama, park. So you can imagine these monks live happily with nature. And this hot spring park is near Rajagaha, outside Rajagaha. In fact, because of this warm water, there is an interesting belief of those days. Of course, we don't accept this today, that hell was located below Rajagaha. So from there, that's why you can feel the warm water. So these are local beliefs. And of course, nowadays we don't think like that. But anyway, there was this beautiful lake of warm water where the monks love to go there and wash. And they go there early in the morning. Right? Although it's cold, but this warm water is really wonderful to wash in. So this was kind of the scenario here. You have this young monk, Samiddhi. He has washed himself in the warm water of Tapodā lake. And he has come out now. So now we come to paragraph 2. Then the Venerable Samiddhi, having risen early in the morning, went to the hot springs and bathed his limbs, that is his body, there. Having bathed in the hot springs, he emerged from it and stood wearing a single robe, drying his limbs. That is typically how a monk would wash. They will always wear a sarong, the sabong. Actually, it's a special bathing cloth. It's a very simple cloth with no seams, and then they wash themselves decently. Then he comes out to dry himself, and the sun will be slowly rising. But this one is still early at dawn, very peaceful. So the next paragraph says, then when the night was far spent, a certain deity of exceeding beauty, illuminating the whole of the Tapodā Rama, approached the Venerable Samiddhi. So this is on rare occasion when this deity doesn't approach the Buddha, but also approach a monk. So now this phrase, when the night was far spent, usually would be like 10 to 2. But in this case, the time would be more like towards dawn, right? So we can see that the kind of timing in the sutta is not like today where we go down to the seconds and so on. It's a kind of general idea depending on the event. So early on, we are told this monk is washing himself. He's not going to wash himself, say like 3 or 4 o'clock, maybe just after 4, 5, or maybe around the time before the sun was going to rise. So that's the meaning when the night was far spent, when the night was ending, in other words, in this case. So, in other words, you can see him in the gentle glow of the oncoming sun. So, this deity is she rather, is a forest nymph. So the very, very Greek kind of idea. No? So she lives in this forest, and I think she has some kind of power. So because she's able to shine so bright, she's very happy, and this brightness brighten up the whole of this park. So the sutta tells us. And so we don't need the morning light anymore, because she herself is bright, and somebody could see her, she could see somebody in this light. Now, one interesting point is you find if you and I were to see this Deva, we'd be very excited, but somebody was very calm. So he's used to this kind of situation. After all, the Buddha often talks about devas and deities, other beings. So the sutta continues. Having approached the Venerable Samiddhi, she stood in the air and addressed the Venerable Samiddhi in verse. So she's a deity, so she kind of float in the air, okay, to see how this Samiddhi would react. Okay, but Samiddhi is very calm. He is a monk who has great faith and who is morally virtuous, who respects the Dharma and the Vinaya. All right, so here we see this female deity opening the conversation with this handsome young monk in the morning light. All right, let's go on to the next verse. So she says, now this is really beautiful Indian love language, of which the Hindi movies are often made. Abhutva bhikkhasi bhikkhu nahi bhutwana bhikkhasi bhutwana bhikkhu bhikkhusu ma tankalo upachagati. All right, so first line. Not having feasted, look for food, O bhikshu. Having feasted, you look not for food. Having feasted, O bhikshu, then look for food. Let not time slip by. All right, so she's talking indirectly in a very suggestive manner, playing on words. All right, so, when we were learning English in those early days, secondary school, we learned to paraphrase such verses. No? So in simple language, in other words. Not having feasted, look for food, O bhikkhu, or bhikshu, says this beautiful forest nymph. Meaning, now look, you have not eaten. Why don't you have some food? But this is a different kind of food, the food of sensual pleasure. That's the indirect nuance. Having feasted, you look not for food, right? So here, say after we enjoy ourselves, you don't have to think about it anymore, right? Having feasted, O bhikshu, then look for food. So after you have eaten this, enjoyed this sensual pleasure, then you can go out when your arms round. Let not time slip by. Let's not waste time. Okay, so this is a love verse by this forest deity. Now, Samiddhi is very calm and mindful. So he replies, Kalang wuhang na janami, chano kalo na disati. Tasma abhutva bhikkami ma mankalu upajagati. So he is good in poetry too. He says, I know not indeed what time is. Time is hidden, it cannot be seen. Therefore, not having eaten, I seek alms. Let not time slip by. So notice, this is a duet. He's replying the deity's verse. Notice the last line is the same. So he's a very innocent young monk, amazing monk. He says, now, I don't know what time is. Time, you can't see time, it's hidden. And moreover, I've not eaten. I have to gather alms in order to eat. I'll be hungry. So I'm not going to waste time. Okay. So to him, time is precious for his alms round. Okay. Now elsewhere, there's going to be a deep talk here about the nature of time and the Dharma practice. Okay, so this is the beginning. You have this verse showing something important is going to happen. Characters talking in verses are very common in early literature. For example, in Shakespeare's play, the 7th century, you have royalty speaking in verses. So when you hear this verse be spoken, the idea it is royalty or someone very important. So here, the Buddha will often speak in verses to kings, even, or devas will speak in verses to the Buddha. So you remember in this Samyutta Nikaya, the opening chapter is called Sagata Vagga. Sagata means with verses. The Vagga, the chapter with verses. So it records all these verses spoken by the devas and deities to the Buddha, and the Buddha will reply. So here you are. These are two of the verses from the Sagata Vagga, the first chapter of Samyutta. All right, so this monk really brought this deity down to earth, so to speak. He doesn't play around. He's not interested in all this suggestion by this lovesick deity. Verse 4. Then the Devatā alighted onto the earth. So obvious why she did that, because she wants to be closer to this monk. So she comes down to earth and said this to the Venerable Samiddhi. You have gone forth while still young, a black-haired young man endowed with the blessing of youth, in the prime of life. Now you get the similar words about the Buddha's own renunciation, right? You say you were still young, probably, in the late teens. No? Though your mother and father wish otherwise and wept with tearful faces, you shaved off your hair and beard, you put on the saffron robe and went forth from the household life into the homeless life, without having fully enjoyed sense pleasures. Right? So you're still so innocent, So this deity is hinting to this young monk. Now, this kind of story is very interesting because you may ask, why does this deity do this, So the commentator probably would tell you, oh, they were probably related in some past lives, so that she's come back, So in a sense, so we have so many relatives, and the good ones, really good ones, they're reborn as devas, And if they're good, and you are good yourself, they will take care of you. They will, kind of be there, though you don't see them. Most of our friends and relatives who are not friendly, they're reborn as other beings, cats and dogs, for example. So it's good to love cats and dogs and have pets too, but they could be our relatives. So you find because of that, they can become quite friendly. Mm-hmm. All right, so now this monk continues, right? Sorry, we're still in verse 4. Verse 4, the Venerable Samiddhi, the Devatā speaks to Venerable Samiddhi again, says, you have gone forth as too young and so on. So why don't you, 4.2, enjoy human pleasures, Bhikshu? Notice, enjoy human pleasures. Do not abandon what is visible right here, Sandittika, to run after what takes time. Okay, so she's very convincing. She tries to convince this monk and says, look, you're still young, and this is the time to enjoy life. So she uses the term sandittika, what is visible right here and now. What is that? You're young, and I'm here with you, right? So why do you want to spend time with the Dharma, which takes time? You got to practice and so on, and then after some time you awaken. So why run after what takes time? So this is the Devata's idea. Do not abandon what is visible right now. Don't waste your youth to run after what takes time. And this religious practice is going to take so long. Okay, this is her worldly view. So you see here this contrast between the world and Dharma. Okay, here again you see this innocent and really wonderful character, morally virtuous Samiddhi. He replies, verse 5, I have not abandoned what is visible right here and now, Awuso. We call her Awuso, his friend. To run after what takes time. She says, no, I'm not doing what you've said. I have abandoned what takes time, Awuso, to run after what is visible right here. All right. So she's putting all the terms right back where they should be. She says, I have not given up Sanditiko. Sanditiko is the Dharma here and now. I'm not giving that up. That's the Dharma here and now. To run after what takes time. Okay, here's a hint, very indirect hint. So if you didn't study the suttas, you're wondering, what is Samiddhi talking about? The Buddha used to have a subtle joke. All this I'll be writing one day in this, the Buddha and humor. No? What takes time? Here, the Buddha once said something like, sensual pleasures take time. Sex takes time. Takes a lot of time, of our time. Okay? Whereas the Dharma is visible right here and now. Another way of putting it is samsara takes time. Wow, very, very long time. Kalika takes time. Whereas the Dharma is said to be akalika. Akalika means not time or no time. There are a couple of senses here, meaning the Dharma, when you practice it, you don't feel the time. You enjoy it so much, you feel at peace, you don't feel the time. And then the meaning is that when you gain the goal of the Dharma, you go beyond time. You're no more controlled by time. You are neither born nor die. You are not reborn, you don't have re-death. So that's the two simple senses. No? So somebody says, I've not abandoned what is visible right here. Awuso to run after what takes time. I've abandoned what takes time. Awuso to run after what is visible right here. That is the Dharma. Then the Samiddhi mentions the Buddha to this deity. Apparently, this deity has never met the Buddha, and she will have an excuse why a little later. 5.2. For Awuso, the Blessed One has declared that sense pleasures are time-consuming. There you are. The Buddha has declared that sense pleasures are time-consuming, full of suffering, full of despair, and great is the danger therein. While this Dharma is visible right here, immediate, that is time-free, inviting us to come and see, accessible, or this is Opanayika, leading onwards. In other words, the Dharma will bring you onwards to greater peace and become a better person. To be personally known by the wise. So these are the 5 qualities of the Dharma. The first one is the well-taught, which is not mentioned here, because these are the practical aspect. Yeah? So this deity is what we like to say in Singapore is blur. Okay, she doesn't know what this young, wonderful young monk is saying. Verse 6. But how, Bhikshu, has the Blessed One declared that sense pleasures are time-consuming, full of suffering, full of despair, and great is the danger therein, while this Dharma is visible right here, immediate, inviting us to come and see, accessible, to be personally known by the wise. So here, she actually is repeating all that Samiddhi is saying, and says, I don't understand what you're saying. All right? So this is where Samiddhi has planted the Dharma seed. So this is a kind of the highlight of the meeting between this deity and this young monk. It's a beautiful moment. Something's going to happen now. All right? So we will take a short break here. Okay, so here we have this, the deity asks the monk Samiddhi, what do you mean by these words? She doesn't understand the Dharma language, okay? The sensual pleasures are time-consuming. What is here now, comes like that, because something new to her. So she's very curious, all right? It's like you see 2 young people meeting each other. They're talking about games, and then this more intelligent senior older boy says something else about something deeper. All right, let's go on to verse 7 now. Let's go down a bit. Yeah. All right. So here you can see somebody telling about himself. He says, I am but newly ordained, now newly ordained, Awuso, not long gone forth. Only recently came to this teaching, this Dharma and this discipline, this Vinaya. I am unable to explain it in detail. But there is the Blessed One, the Arahat, the fully self-awakened one, who is staying in the hot spring park. Approach the Blessed One and ask him this matter. Just as he answers you, so you should remember it. Right? So here in this case, Samiddhi doesn't go on to explain the Dharma because he's new. He doesn't want to make any mistake. There is a case, probably before this, I think, where a wanderer comes to him, asks him a question, and then he gave a wrong answer, which made the matter more confusing. And the matter was brought to the Buddha, and the Buddha chided him a bit, saying he should not answer in the wrong way when he knows nothing about it. So it's likely that was before this, so he's more careful now. Doesn't want to say anything. He says, please go and see the Buddha. So here, the deity pleads ignorance. 8. But Bhikshu, it is difficult for her, to approach the Blessed One. He is surrounded by other Devatas of great influence. if you would approach him, Bhikshu, and ask him regarding this matter, we too will come along and listen to the Dharma. It's interesting. This deity uses the royal plural, we, no? And yet she says she has difficulty approaching the Buddha, but there were other more powerful deities present, and she's not able to approach. There seems to be this kind of like hierarchy among the devas. So when if the more powerful one in front, you just stay behind and listen. So she pleaded her lack of status, and maybe she says, if you bring me there, I have a better chance to see the Buddha. Well, that's fair enough. So 9, Samiddhi replies, very well. Also, the Venerable Samiddhi replied to the Devatā and approached the Blessed One. Having approached the Blessed One and saluted him, he sat down at one side. Seated thus at one side, the Venerable Samiddhi said this to the Blessed One. Now, here again, we see some very interesting situation. A monk would always go to the Buddha, go before the Buddha, bow down to him, right? So the center, there'll be a space there, right? And then after bowing down, this monk will go to one side, will sit down on one side, talk to the Buddha. Now, in the case of the deity, according to the sutta, it seems that she stood. She stood nearby. For some reason, she does not sit down, because she doesn't have to sit down, I suppose, because she doesn't have the kind of body we have. So she's quite happy, quite comfortable just standing. But the proper way, proper decorum, protocol even if you like, is that if the teacher is sitting, we also will sit to talk to the teacher. If teacher is standing, we will stand, talk to him, something like that. Out of respect for the teacher. So here, from section 10 onwards, the Samiddhi relates everything that had happened earlier. So you see lots of italics here. Bhante, having risen early in the morning, I went to the hot springs and bathed my limbs. There, having bathed in the hot springs, I emerged from it and stood wearing a single robe, drying my limbs. Then Bhante, when the night was fast spent, a certain Devata of exceeding beauty, illuminating the whole of the hot spring park, approached me. Having approached me, Bhante, she stood in the air and addressed me in verse. Not having feasted, you look for food, O Bhikshu. Having feasted, you look not for food. Having feasted, O Bhikshu, then look for food, let not time slip by. All right. Now here, on a note of translation, you find basically this paragraph is a repeat of what Samiddhi had said earlier on when he was speaking to the Deva. So here you find the same words, but the word Bhante is used. Okay. So these markers, these relative pronouns are very important. So in our SD translation, we maintain this flow of narration and dialogue, and especially the vocative, the name of the speaker, right? So the word Bhikshu, Bhante, and so on, we leave it there. There are some, like the commercial translation, you find the word Bhikkhave is missing. There's so many monks, oh monks this, oh monks that, the Buddha often mentioned, and those monks are all taken out, to save space. I mean, it's rather strange, right? So here we keep the word Bhikshu, Bhante where they should be. So here, somebody relates what happened earlier. All right, let's go down a bit more to number 11. Further up, please, yeah. When she had said thus. So here again, we have somebody speaking. When she had said thus, Bhante, I addressed the Devatā in verse thus. I knew not indeed what time is. Time is hidden, it cannot be seen. Therefore, not having eaten, I seek alms. Let not time slip by. So here, notice these are the verses of the chapter 1 of Samyutta, this verse 45. Ne? And here you find, it says this verse 45, A, B. It's A, B, C, D. Ne? AB is also found at Itivataka Sutta number 3.2.4, page 54. Okay, so the sutta appears again in the Itivataka, IT. All right, so here, let's see what else does Samiddhi say. Go further down, please. Okay, let's go down some more, page. All right, so 12. Then Bhante, the Devata, alighted onto the earth and said this to me. You have gone forth while still young, a black-haired young man, and so on and so forth. So you've not enjoyed sensual pleasures, but then you enjoy sensual pleasures. And the most important line here is 12.3. Do not abandon what is visible right here to run after what takes time. When this was said, Bhante, I said this to the Devata. I have not abandoned what is visible right here, also to run after what takes time. I have abandoned what takes time, also to run after what is visible right here and now. I'm practicing the Dharma, in other words. For also, the Blessed One has declared that sensual pleasures are time-consuming, full of suffering, full of despair, and great is the danger therein. But this Dharma is visible right here, immediate, time-free, inviting us to come and see, accessible, to be personally known by the wise. When this was said, Bhante, the Devata, said this to me. Like she doesn't understand what Samiddhi has said earlier on. And they say, Samiddhi then, section 15, Samiddhi says, okay, then I tell this Devata I'm new and I can't give a detailed answer. So you should go and see the Buddha. And since she's a bit shy, a bit coy, so Samiddhi says, okay, then I'll take you to the Buddha. All right. So here you are. You have this Bhante, the Devata's word is true. She would indeed not be far away. All right. Now this line is interesting. So here, apparently, Samiddhi looked around, couldn't see her. Now, see, these are little interesting aspects of the sutta we sometimes miss if we don't read carefully, don't read between the lines, if you like. So after relating everything, Samiddhi tells the Buddha, then this deity asked me this, asked me to bring her here. And he looks around and says, no, where is she? Right? So she said, Bhante, if the Devata's word is true, she would indeed not be far away. So she must be somewhere here, all right? Okay. Then, now, so here, my imagination is this Devata is, you're talking about this young Devata and this young monk. She's probably very shy, very coy, and hiding behind the monk, probably. Or maybe she became invisible for that moment because she was very shy. When this was said, the Devata said to the Venerable Samiddhi, notice it doesn't say it to the Buddha. She says to Samiddhi, ask Bhikshu, here I am, I've arrived. Okay? So they ask the Buddha. All right? Okay, so now the Buddha replies. Okay, here we are. Further down. Okay, let's push up the verses a bit, please. Yeah. All right. So now comes the teaching. The Buddha teaches the Devata in verses. Then the Blessed One addressed the Devata in verse. Akeya sanyino satta akeyasming patittita akeye apirinyaya yogang ayanti machuno. Beings who perceive the expressible, or what can be expressed, are established in the expressible. Okay? The meaning is, if you only look at things in the world which you can perceive, then that's all you get. Akkeye aparinyaya yogang ayanti machuno. Not fully understanding the expressible, they go under the yoke of death. Right? So if you're caught up in this, merely the visible aspects of life, what you see, smell, taste, touch, and experience, then you'll be caught up with this rise and fall of things. Death will catch up with you. All right? So this, of course, very deep. Right? So let's see how the Deva reacts. Further down, please. 19. Go down a bit more. Yeah, okay. Oh, there's one more verse. Okay. Akeyancha parinyaya akatarang namanyati tanhitasana hotiti yena nang wajana tassa ati. But having understood the expressible, the worldly things, what you experience, one does not conceive of an expressor. One does not think of a being or of someone behind all those things that you see, hear, smell, taste, touch. For there is nothing about him with which there is to speak of. There's really nothing to talk about. There's no self there. All right? So now she must be very quiet here because she didn't say anything. Maybe she looked blurred, as we say. So the Buddha kind of said to her, say if you understand Yakshi. All right? Okay, Yakshi here is a, what shall we say, like a colloquial term. Yaksha is the masculine, Yakshi is the feminine. It's just a term used for any kind of non-human. Okay? So the she spirit, this Devatā, okay, this forest nymph. So say you understand, or do you understand? Okay, okay, so she replied, she said, but Bhante, is teaching of the Blessed One spoken in brief. I do not understand its meaning in detail. It will be good if the Blessed One speaks it in such a way that I might understand the meaning of, in detail, of what has been spoken in brief. So this young deity says, you know, your teaching is so is short and deep, and so I don't understand the details. Now the Blessed One, the Buddha, gave another verse. Okay, so this is the third verse. Samo visesi attava nihino yomanyati so vivadeta tena tisu vidasu avikampamano samo visesiti natasahoti. I am equal, I am better, I am worse. Whoso conceives would as such fall into dispute. Here meaning when we think in terms of status, of position, when we look down on others, right? Then we're sure to get into some kind of conflict. Being unshaken by the three discriminations. Okay, these are the three discrimination. I'm equal with this person before me. I am better than this person before me. I am worse than this person before me. So these are three discrimination. He thinks not. I am equal, I'm better, I am worse. He doesn't think in terms of status. Okay, so let go of self, in other words. So again here, the Buddha asked this deity, do you understand? So she pleads ignorance. She says, oh no, I don't understand. I still don't understand. Okay. Then the Blessed One gives some more verses like to explain it. Yeah. But okay, here you are. She says the same thing, and then the Blessed One says, this is the fourth verse, I think. Pahasi sangkang nacha manang nachaga achichitanhang ida nama rupe tang china gantang anigang nirasang pariya samana najagamung dewa manusa idawa hurangwa saggesu asabbe niwe sanes. Abandon is reckoning. Overcome is conceit. Cut off here is craving for name and form. Okay, this is deep Dharma. The Buddha say the true saint has given up measuring people, status, and so on, and there's no more conceit, arrogance, pride. You know? Craving has been uprooted, cut off. No more looking for name and form. Like when we talk to people, we look at the person, we want to know the person's name. And from the name, we decide what kind of person and the status and so on. Whose knot is cut, no attachment, cut off, no more desires, untroubled, longing free, no desire. Seeking for them, they find him not. When you look for such a person, this arahat, you will not find him. Devas are human, here or beyond, in the heavens or in any abode. You're not reborn anywhere. So the Buddha is talking about the arahat here. Okay, so now it seems after 3 or 4 verses that this deity says, now Bhante, I do understand the meaning in detail of what has been thus given in brief by the Blessed One. Right? There's some explanation of the arahat. Okay, let's see what happens now. Put it down. In fact, we have come to the end of that sutta. So, she should say she's understand. 23, there's verse 23. Now, Bhante, I do understand the meaning in detail and so on. And then the Buddha closes with a verse. Papang na kayira vachasa manasa kayena va kinchana sabbaloke kame pahaya satima sappajano dukkhang na seveta anatta sanghitang. No bad should be done by word, by thought, or by deed, whatever in all the world. Right? So wherever you are, no matter what level of being you are reborn in, do not commit any kind of karma, body, speech, or mind that is not good. Having abandoned sense pleasures, mindful, fully aware, don't be tied down by the senses, then you don't have to suffer and kind of waste your time and life. Okay, so there's something like a blessing. Now then the sutta ends here just like that. Okay, so we don't seem to know what actually happened to this young deity. So I look up in the commentary. The commentary says that when she reflects on this teaching carefully, she became a stream winner. So we have this happy ending. All right, so there you are. This is the short little story about how this young monk meets this young deity, and this monk brings the Dharma to the deity. So the sutta ends here. All right. So we have just nice 15 minutes of questions, if any.
Sadhu for the teaching here. Now we have a Q&A exercise in. Please take over.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Rana. Thank you, Brother Piya, for the teaching. Brother Piya, there is no question in the chat box at
Okay.
the moment.
Can wait
Yeah,
a
any
while.
brother and sister would like to ask your question, you can unmute and ask your question.
You can use the microphone, yeah. Well, you can read the sutta by yourself if you just came in. It's quite an easy sutta. There are also lots of notes, introduction.
Brother Piya,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Can you hear me, Brother Piya?
Who is speaking, please?
True.
Okay, yes. Go on, please, question.
Yeah, so this is actually in relation to the qualities of the Dhamma, which is sanditiko and akaliko.
Yes.
Yeah, so somehow in this sutta, it seems to imply like as if the two are fairly similar.
Well,
I just want to understand like what's the difference between these two in relation to the qualities of the Dhamma.
Sanditiko and akaliko, no?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, of course, there are commentaries on this. For example, if you look up under the Dajaga Sutta, Dhammanusati, they're all in the SD series. They are explained in detail. So now I'll just give a short answer here. Sanditiko. You see, san here is the prefix sang. Sang can mean self, meaning you do it yourself. It can also mean like something like now, okay, in the sense of complete. ditthika. Ditthi means to see. Ditthi means view. So it can be good, it can be bad. Ka makes it an adjective. So sanditthika, it can mean to see for oneself. That's one meaning. But the usual meaning here is seen here and now. Sanditthika, seen right now. Okay. Ditteva dhammena, no? Seen here and now. So in other words, when you practice the Dharma, you will feel the peace right away. You feel it there. Maybe it's a moment, but if you are mindful, you see it and then you build it up. So it's a kind of practice which is not, some ritual will tell you, you practice this, then you go to heaven. So it's a posthumous benefit. You get your reward after death. But it's not like that in Buddhism. You get this reward now. You feel peaceful now. And then it builds up. It's like exercising. So you sweat and you feel good. And then overall, your life will be more healthy. Now, akaliko is a bit more profound here. The worldly meaning, the simple colloquial meaning, if you like, is people tend to think of Dharma and say, oh, I got no time for this, I got no time for Dharma. But the reality is, time is what you make of it. All right. I often like to say, all these 20 years or 20 over years of sutta work, I never said, oh, I must do this, now so much time for this, so much time for that. I know that this is what I enjoy doing, right? So I don't say okay, I must finish this sutta now. I don't know, because it could be very difficult, or I could feel tired. So I will turn on my computer screen, look at the sutta and say, okay, what do I have today? I have this paragraph. I just look at the paragraph, study it, and see what I can write about it or how I can translate it. So the time is now. You just do it when you have this time. Same thing goes to proofreading. I always tell people, I don't put a deadline. I don't want to rush you. It's like practice. You just take a bit, you do it, and then you stop when you're tired. You don't fight it, because if you fight it, you wouldn't enjoy doing it. Then you hate doing it. So you just stop, and then at the right time, you come back and do it. Sometimes there's a long break, sometimes there's a short break. It doesn't matter. There's always time for the Dharma. If your heart is there, there's always time for the Dharma. That's one meaning. Time is what you make of it. All right. The other meaning is deeper. It means once you know the Dharma, of course, you can apply this. Once you know the Dharma, there's always time. But it means something more. For example, one way of putting it is you create good karma. So you're more healthy, you live longer, wiser, a wholesome life. And that's kind of intermediate meaning, right? You have all these wonderful blessings. The highest meaning is this Dharma is not about time. So this has to do with right now, the present moment is all there is the reality. Even as you look at the present, it's gone, right? We started at around 8, and then it's gone now. It's the past. It's a memory. And then the future is coming all the time, right now. There is only the now. Actually, the future never comes. Because if it comes, you don't call it future anymore. You call it the present, okay? So there's only this present. So the Dharma is right here and now with us. When there is a sutta which talks about how to see the Dharma here and now. When you are facing a bad situation, when there is greed or hatred or delusion in you, you know it. You watch it, you say, wow, there is hatred in me now. There's anger in me now. Accept it. Now there's greed in me. Notice it, acknowledge it. Now there's delusion in me. This is very difficult, but you may know it, acknowledge it. Now, once you acknowledge it, Mara is seen. You see for yourself this negative aspect. When you see, what that seeing is Dharma. And when you see greed, hatred, delusion, they go away. They go away. What arises is reality, you say, oh, this is something I don't like, I don't enjoy, and it goes away. And then the positive aspects arise, you acknowledge it. So this is living the Dharma here and now, right? Another way of putting it is wise attention. Like you listen, the Dharma, wisdom arises. That's the benefit of it. So when you place your attention here and now, that is timeless. The timeless present. The present is always there, so to speak. And then the higher meaning than that is nirvana itself, is timeless. So in a sense, nirvana doesn't fall into any of these categories because nirvana is beyond time and space. Samsara is time and space. Time and space means suffering, right? But nirvana is beyond time and space. Now that's all we can talk about, actually, when you talk about nirvana, because people don't like to hear that. They say, wow, nirvana. They get very scared. They say, what? No time, no place? What kind of situation is that? They can't understand it. So they think, oh, it can't be good, Well, we can use a simple example. We are working so hard, We have this problem, we have this issue, and we have to deal with it. And finally, after a long time, it ends, the end of it. No more problems. The sickness is healed, we feel good. Then we are really happy. All that is over. Something like that. Nirvana is something like that. All these samsara ups and downs are done with. Imagine if that can be done and you're still alive, like the Buddha, okay? He's happy. So that's the meaning of akaliko. It has nothing to do with time. You do what arises now, you watch the present, be with it, and let it go. All right? Then you can read up later the longer reflections on the 6 virtues of the Dharma, okay? Swakato, Bhagavata, Dhammo, and so on. Well, I
So,
hope that, yes.
so can I just clarify that Sanditiko, on the other hand, is more focused on the outcome and the results
The present.
of the present experience of the outcome
Yeah.
of the results.
The
Right.
present experience. And akaliko then makes it a timeless experience. It's true all the time. That's one way of putting it. Yeah.
Right.
So it is also reflecting on the Dharma. When you reflect, this is, wow, this is beautiful, this is deep, and you feel very calm and happy. Okay?
Okay.
And sometimes if you do this often, you get very nice dreams also. I sometimes get these translation dreams, some ideas that come to me. And of course, you don't note it down within an hour. When you get up, you forget it. I had a beautiful dream last night. I didn't note it, so it's gone. Can't remember what it is. But I remember there's something to do with translation work.
Thank
Okay?
you. Thank you.
All right. Any other question?
Thank you, Brother Piya. There's a question from Sister Helene. This sutta is rather brief.
Yes.
After reading comments in this write-up, finally understand mental proliferation by the perception is the suffering. Essentially, practicing the Satipatthana should be the key to end suffering.
Yes. Yeah, the one of the keywords here is perception. Perception, sanya. Sanya has got bad worldly meaning as well as Dhamma meaning. Normally, the perception of the 5 aggregates would be how we remember things and how it acts on us. Then there's also sanya in terms of meditation, right? For example, you reflect on food, the loathsomeness of food, or the body decays. That also is a perception. That's meditation. So when you read this sutta, you have a broader and deeper view into reality, into yourself. You begin to see, oh, this word sanya has got deeper senses. Okay, so there are lots of footnotes there and in the introduction. So as I said before, when you read a sutta, first thing is just read through the sutta just as it is without any, don't worry about the notes. Just read through like the way you read the newspaper. Just read through, have an idea of what the sutta is about. right through to the end. Then another day, another time when you're relaxed, read it again, and this second round, you look at the notes bit by bit. Then again, up to you. You can just read, telling yourself, okay, I'll only read the notes to explain the sutta, and then you do that. So you understand better what that word, that phrase in the sutta means. Then later on, as you improve, you can go deeper. You can look at the cross-references, because the sutta will tell you, okay, there's more about this somewhere else in another sutta. And you find you relate the two. That one needs a bit more concentration. That one's a bit more difficult. You don't have to do that if you don't want. Important thing is know what the sutta is talking about, all those notes about the meaning of the words, the deeper meaning, right? Now, sometimes the notes themselves can be quite complicated because I use a lot of short forms to save space, and I follow the scholarly tradition to save space and also convenience. Otherwise, the words be very long. So you can choose what you understand. What you don't understand, it's okay. Don't worry about it. The time will come when you will read it again and say, oh, now I understand it. So give yourself that time. There's always time for the Dharma, okay? All right.
Question by Sister Helene.
Yes.
Is there any sutta source can be quoted for the mapping of Noble Eightfold Path to the ways to practice Satipatthana, like Pali words Atapi, Sati, and Sampajana?
Oh, these are very popular early Buddhist terms, so you find they're all over the place, actually. One way I would suggest is we have a little dictionary which have compiled all these occurrences, all these terms and their connection. So use that. It's called a DEB, Dictionary of Early Buddhism. So the terms are there, you can look up and see their connection. Very often they're interrelated. For example, I discovered recently the word Kaya Gata Sati and Kaya Nupassana actually mean the same thing, that they refer to all the practices relating to the body. Kaya Gata Sati, body-based mindfulness. And then Kaya Nupassana, contemplation of the body. They refer to the same practices. So you find at different times the Buddha may use a different term, but they refer to the same things. The Dharma refers to the same thing, ultimately refers to nirvana, to the path to awakening. Okay? So don't forget the DEB, Dictionary of Early Buddhism, all those Dharma notes are there, you can read up on your own. And we're also constantly updating all these old volumes. I must say, I have a wonderful set of people. Many of the proofreaders are here. They're really careful readers. They help to improve the quality of the translation, the word spelling, ideas, and so on. So you are helping a lot of people read the Dharma more accurately. So the proofreading is a very important aspect of Dharma teaching. It's not just teaching, but this is called straightening of views, DEITY Jukama, straightening of wrong views, errors in writing. But these are Dharma transmissions. So proofreading is, you may not write essays or even translate suttas, but doing proofing is just an important part of it, straightening all the wrong ideas that the translator and writer makes. That helps you go to be more inspired by the teaching. All right, any other question?
Yes, Brother Piya, question from Sister Gekchu. How can we access the Dictionary of Early Buddhism?
Oh, I'll send it to you, just write me. I'm still writing it. Here again, I didn't plan to write it. What I do is every time I come up with a new keyword I'm working with, I will index it right away. And then Chai Seng, my son, is indexing the new volumes as they are produced. So that one is the Sutta Title Index, STI, Sutta Title Index. You can ask for that also if you want. These are all work in progress, but they can be used right now. So you can access them, access the Sutta titles very easily. You can access the ideas used in the suttas also. So just message us on Telegram. Telegram's the best, quickest direct communication. So please send me DEB, capital D, capital E, capital B, DEB, or Dictionary of Early Buddhism, if you want that. And then the other one is STI, Sutta Title Index. On both, we send to you whatever we have. This I've been working for the last 20 years. I told myself, if I were to sit down and write the dictionary, it's going to take a long time. I don't think I'll ever finish it. But if I spend even, say, one day or in 1 week, 2-3 days, I add in some words, over 20 years, be a lot of words. That's what happened to the dictionary, you know? It built up like an ant building a nest. Now, that's the working of akalika, the Dharma being timeless, or there's always time for the Dharma, okay? So it's work in progress. Okay, so looks like it's time's up, nah? No more last minute question, nah?
Thank you, Brother Piya.
Okay, so that's good. Right, so
Sorry, we take a group photo.
all right, so here we come, once again, we come to this time when we reflect on this wonderful occasion. A rare time we gather together to renounce the world for a short moment, study the Dharma, recite the three precepts, 5 precepts, do some meditation, and then ask questions about the Dharma, study it. Remember this moment, but above all these good deeds you have done, I have done, say to yourself, may I be well, may I be happy, may my loved one be well and happy, and so on. Send your kind thoughts to people around you, people connected with you. This is the time. And also, we recall the Buddha and bow to him for his teachings. We recall the Dharma, aspire to practice it. And we aspire to work for the path in this life as soon as possible. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.